Wagwan, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for opening Sashelle's journal. It is your girl Sashelle. If you're already a part of the family, big up your damn self, and always big up your damn self and continue showing me your support. If you are not already a part of the family, what are you doing? What are you doing? Join the family. We have an awesome family here today, guys. It is all about relaxers. We're continuing with our relaxer series. We can't get over a relaxer series because we are just not done yet. Today, guys, we are gonna be talking about and breaking down the different types of relaxers. What are relaxers about? Now, if you checked out my last video, in that video I gave you all of the details regarding your relaxer, preparing you to go into your relaxer day, all your concerns if you are newly going into your relaxer, you're transitioning into relaxed hair. All you need to know, all your concerns and your worries were answered. So if you haven't already checked that out, you can go ahead and check that out after you watch this video. As I mentioned in that video, I am going to be talking about lye versus low lye versus no lye relaxers. What are these things? What are they about? So without further ado, let's get into the video. So just a quick summary of how relaxers work. As I told you, we have the cortex of the hair, which is like the innermost part of the hair, and basically it is made up of layers called fibrils. These layers of the cortex are like tightly knit together, hence causing our hair to be naturally coily, curly, or kinky. Once we apply relaxers onto hair, basically it relaxes the layers of the cortex, hence making the hair straighter. So that is basically what the relaxers do to the hair. The overall reason that most of us get relaxed is because we want to straighten our hair to improve the manageability of the hair, because when we have coily textures, it tends to be a little harder to deal with, and sometimes we get damaged, and sometimes we just want a different look. So in order for me to kind of explain to you or kind of create a little introduction of what these types of relaxers are, I need for you to understand what pH is. pH balance, or if you hear about pH, we're talking about the levels of acidity or alkalinity of a substance. So how acidic a substance is, how alkaline a substance is. So that can range anywhere from 0 to 14. That's the pH scale. Exactly in the middle of that we have 7. So 7 will be neutral. It's like the perfect balance between both of that. Regular hair is around 4.5 to 5 in terms of pH balance. So if you are above 7, you are alkaline. If you are below 7, you are highly acidic. So relaxers in general are more on the alkaline side. So it's either highly alkaline or not as high alkaline, if you know what I mean. Anywhere between 12 to 14 is where lye relaxers stand. So those relaxers are highly alkaline compared to others. No lye relaxers are anywhere between 9 and 11, so it makes it a little less alkaline than the lye relaxers. So with that being said, anywhere between 9 to 14 is where our hair is when we get a relaxer. So once we get a relaxer, it is of utmost importance that we neutralize in order to bring back down our hair back to our regular hair's pH balance, which is like 4.5. So the big broad category of relaxers kind of fall under hydroxide relaxers and thio relaxers, and the main type is hydroxide relaxers. Hydroxide relaxers now are divided into subsections again, and these types of hydroxide relaxers include lithium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and guanidine hydroxide. What are these, Sashelle? What are you telling me? Get rid of these chemistry and these technical terminologies. What are these? Let me break all of this down for you guys. Let me go into my science here and break this down for you guys. So when we were in school, they told about different metals, and so in our periodic table, and we talk about certain metals. So basically what happens, you have the sodium, the potassium, the lithium. They are like ionic metals that are in relaxers. So these ionic metals, basically they combine with oxygen and hydrogen, making them a more compound substance, such as sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, lithium hydroxide, and some of them has calcium in it, some that are called calcium hydroxide. Now it is these compound substances now that determines like whether the relaxer is considered as a lye relaxer or it is considered as a no lye relaxer. So let us get into what are lye relaxers. So lye relaxers is made primarily of sodium hydroxide, the harshest out of these compounds or these active ingredients, which makes it the most effective in breaking down the bonds of the protein in the hair, hence making the hair as straight as possible, as sleek as possible, and it works very fast. It is very efficient. But because it is so strong for the hair, this chemical compound is so strong for the hair that it can potentially be hazardous in the hair, and it is most likely to cause damage to the hair when you get a perm. Most of us that do our relaxers, we tend to go for a lye relaxer. I myself realized, without even knowing what relaxers were about, find that I went with lye relaxers. The most popular relaxers are lye relaxers, and they are more widely used because they are quick, they are fast, and I have a million clients, and once they do that, they put it in for like 20 minutes, it works, it perms their hair, it makes you more efficient as a professional. So you find that a lot of professionals use lye relaxers compared to low lye relaxers or no. So as I mentioned in earlier videos, that is always important that you neutralize after you get a relaxer. It is even more important when you use lye relaxers because the sodium hydroxide in lye relaxers is so harsh. You want to ensure that you neutralize it, hence you want to ensure that you use a neutralizing shampoo which is more acidic. And because lye relaxers are so extremely alkaline, then you want to ensure that applying that more acidic shampoo onto the hair, it kind of balances out the alkaline nature of the relaxer, hence kind of bring down the hair back to its normal pH. If you don't, these lye relaxers are more likely to cause scalp burns, chemical burns, damage to the hair, breakage, and all of that if not properly washed out or if not properly handled or managed. On the flip side of the sphere, or on the flip side of everything, we have no-lye relaxers, which basically all the other compounds or active ingredients can be found. So the lithium hydroxide, the potassium hydroxide, the calcium hydroxide, these are the active ingredients that are in lye relaxers. These are not strong as sodium hydroxide, hence you know that all of the benefits of what sodium hydroxide is going to be a little more narrowed down in these relaxers. So you'll find that these relaxers might take a longer time to process. It may not come completely mixed for you. These relaxers don't break down as much protein bonds in the hair, hence the hair may not come out as straight, or if it does come out as straight, it may require to stay in your hair a longer time period. And then this is not most effective for professionals who are doing tons of hair all the time, or if you don't really have the time to really do that, it may not be as efficient. And if you're someone who wants to definitely go for that permed sleek look, then these may not be your ideal situation, but these are least likely to cause issues like scalp burns, over processing, and all of that. So overall, these relaxers break down the protein bonds to a minimal level that it's manageable, but at the same time it leaves a bit of texture in your hair. So I guess persons who are preferred like the more textured look, the more texlax look, these are ideal for those persons because you still have a bit of texture, just that your hair is a bit lighter and you can manage it a bit better than your natural hair. So definitely, if you are someone who has sensitive scalp, the no-lye relaxers are the ideal situation here. So let us talk about the no-lye relaxer, which it tend to be overlooked because basically we kind of understand where that might put itself. So the low lye relaxer is that type of relaxer that has the lowest level of sodium hydroxide, which is the main ingredient of lye relaxers. So it does have sodium hydroxide in it, but it is at the lowest level, probably about 2.5% of sodium hydroxide per what I have researched. Basically, it is effective in getting the hair sleek and all of that, but it just might take a little more time. It is equally as effective as the lye relaxer, it's just a little more subtle and a little more mild, and it will process the hair very well, but it might leave a little amount of texture in the hair, a little less than the no lye relaxer, but a little amount of texture. So if the hair is manageable, more than likely it won't cause too much irritation to your scalp. So a lot of us don't really know the technicalities of these chemicals or these metals and the hydroxide and the oxygen and all of these things. But what we do know is that on our packages we see that most relaxers have the super strength or the regular strength, and we're like, What is the difference? Basically, the difference of super and regular is that the levels of sodium hydroxide that is in the relaxer, pretty much. So the higher the level of the sodium hydroxide, more than likely it is the more onto the super level of the relaxer, and the regular is like on the lower level. So super strength will basically have more sodium hydroxide, hence processing faster, having more chemicals to break down the protein bond, more protein bonds being breaking down, processing times faster, and that can lead to other things like chemical burns, scalp irritations, and all of these things. So I never ever recommend you to go in with super relaxer. Of course, we do what we want and we choose to do what we want, but to me their safest bet is to stay with your regular relaxer, because that will have, you know, a good pace for you. So guys, that is all. I gave you a little science, I gave you a little homework, I gave you all of these things. I hope that this was very informative for you. If there's anything that you are interested in knowing or any questions you want to ask, go ahead, put the questions on the comment below. I try to address every question that is posed to me, and you guys know that I interact a lot. Guys, thank you all for supporting. What other video ideas you want, I am here. Your girl is here. I'll put that out for you. Thank you for supporting your girl, and I'll see you next time. Ta-da!